Hey everyone, and welcome back to Gearblocks. Last video I did a little bit of updating to the transport truck and the Peej, and mentioned a few things I wanted to do with the Peej. So I figured this week I would go over some of the updates for the Peej. First of all, it is 2 blocks narrower than it used to be. I felt like it was just way too wide before. And now it's a lot better now. Now it's a lot better now, yeah, English! As you can see, especially with the center console, it is a fair bit more narrow. I had to adjust the dashboard a little bit to work. Narrowed the roof, of course, to go along with it. I redid the rear floor to make it just look a little bit better and be smoother. I also raised it up a little bit. So now there's these like mock body mounts throughout rather than just under the front part of the tub. They're under the back as well. I redid the drivetrain. It's now a 5-speed. Yes, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reverse. Yes, okay, so yeah, it's the 5-speed now. It's still not a very good gear ratio, like setup, but it works. It also still uses the clutch gears, which I really don't like using. The suspension is pretty much the same, other than I redid the links a little bit. Just reoriented the steering. Engine is the same as it was. The steering's all the same. I think I got the steering working better off camera. Or no, not off camera, in the last episode. No, that was the transport truck, sorry. What else have I done? I switched out the axles for my new ones that I've been using that have proper locking in them. There's a piston tucked in there that slides a gear into place. Right here, the gear itself is right there, and it kind of locks. It locks this axle shaft to the main carrier, which in turn locks the rest. It still doesn't really work right, but it's proper locking diffs. They should also be set up as LSDs, yeah, 1 and then 5. Yep. I had to take out the one solar panel, so now there's just one offset. I put a beam in the lower part of the window so it looked a bit more proper for a Jeep, even with the texture glitching the way it is. I would like to change the roll cage so it's just the axles. Use the weld tool to get rid of these black bits, but we'll see about that. I redid the tonneau here, so it's done a little bit better. Less pieces, a couple less pieces, I think. There's now a battery under the dash, like I like doing for the body, and then there's a body or a battery on the chassis for the drivetrain. Redid the fender wells, I think. Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, it's proportioned a little bit better, performs a little bit better, and then all I did, like I did before for the 4-door, was cut it right behind the B pillar, and then just extended it. I also made new skid plates for it. Less pieces, makes more sense now. Little hole for the gears. It covers the entire thing a bit better, and then you can undo that one and completely take it off and see the chassis and whatnot. Because, you know, I gotta build my stuff as modular as I can. So yeah, that's that. And then the 4-door is the same, but it's a 4-door instead of 2. I apparently painted these back doors by accident. Go. And then I've been working on the other variants of it, starting with the lifted one. And I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the links and stuff, because we can't have things angled properly. You can if you use attachment bridging, but I don't like how that works, and it can be a little glitchy when you freeze things. Puts things into weird spots. So I try to avoid it as much as I can, which is why it currently has the straight drive shaft with a belt going down, pulleys. I'll probably change those out for gears like I did on my one 6x6 that I'll show in a moment. But it's a fully, or well, the front is a partially triangulated 4-link, and then I put hydraulic steering on it instead of having the track bar and drag link going down, and then the rear end is the same. Yeah, it's the exact same. Fuel tank also has its own skid plate now, same as with those ones. And the drivetrain on this one's the same. And this actually works pretty well. This one also has a V8 in it instead of an inline-6. And I still have to run all the exhaust and stuff, but I'm more focused on the suspension stuff at the moment. And then because of the clutch gears, it just can't get the torque down to the wheels properly, but it works very well for what it is so far. A lot better than the old version of it did. So once I'm done this version, or this variant, I'll say, I'll likely move on to the race variants of it. I also redid the independent front suspension for it, so I'll show that really quick. That's up here. So, oh yeah, I made a independent rear for it as well. So, here's the normal solid front axle for it, or at least the new normal one. And then the solid rear axle, as you can see, both are 4-link with panhard bars, track bars, whatever you want to call it. And then I extended the cylinder in the middle, so that if you want, you can change the colors of it and get all fancy. And then I updated the front straight axle, or the front independent, so it can literally just drop in. Grab this one. We undo the drive shaft, pull out the front, undo the drive shaft again for the rear, and pull it out. Let's get rid of those. And I'm going to duplicate these because I want to leave them there. Could probably also get rid of these pieces here because they're from the lifted one, but that's what the engine looks like outside of Peej and the exhaust. And then part of the steering that goes over there. Either way, this, like I said, it literally just drops in, so grab it from the, I forget what that's called at the moment, part of the steering, and it just drops right in. Make sure the sway bar can rotate, and there we go. It uses the stock, not the stock, but you know what I mean, the normal steering box and stuff, pitman arm, and then the pitman arm connects in the normal spot, and then it just moves this sliding bar back and forth for the steering. And then the rear end just drops into place as well. I'm going to use the drive shaft to put it in the right spot. And there we go. Did I? Oh, I thought I put the sway bar in the wrong spot for a moment. But yeah, independent rear suspension, still locking differentials. I'll grab wheels from that one. Nope. And now it's, oops, I forgot to make sure that could turn, like so. And now it's fully independent suspension, which actually handles pretty good in my opinion. The bottom of it is completely flat, full skid plates all the way through, except for the gears sticking through because they're so big, but whatever. And then you can see the steering still works when I'm not on the brakes. It doesn't like to turn when you're on the brakes for some reason. But yeah. And like I said, it actually handles fairly well. Even being narrower, you'd think it would be less stable than it was, and it technically is, but it's pretty top heavy. You turn at any decent speed, especially 80, and it's gonna roll. But this works quite well in my opinion. I should have done a quick run like this in the four-door with the normal straight axles under it, but whatever. What else? I'm not really sure what else to cover on this at the moment. Like I said, I've been working on that one, so I guess I could do a little bit of work on that on camera. So let's get rid of that. Grab the normal version of it again. And then this thing. I'm not really sure what exactly I want to do with it, because I really do not like having the links done like this. This would be very weak in real life, and it looks horrible. And I really want to change it. I could just do a straight 4-link with a track bar, but I'd still have to use the beams or use the weld tool, which I could do. But with this kind of angle going down to the suspension or the axle, it's just not preferable. So I'm probably going to stick with the hydraulic steering and triangulated 4-link for the time being, but I want to try and figure out something better. So why don't I duplicate that, change these back to the normal straight links. Yep. Grab that beam. And I'll grab that. I guess I didn't need to take the lower ball joint off, but whatever. Make sure that didn't... Okay. I keep locking things that don't need to be locked in place. And I'll just copy these, since all the links are the same. So now that's a straight 4-link, which means the axle will wander from side to side. So I need to put in some kind of track bar. So, to do so, I'm going to move where the sway bar connects up on top of the axle, which also means I need to lengthen those and shorten those. Okay, that can just go there, like so. That I will shorten and put there. And then just extend these. And having these will be a bit longer, will be a bit better. Just for allowing the suspension to move how it's supposed to. Alright, so now that's out of the way. I should lock that in place. I now need the track bar, which I would like to mount over here. So I'm going to. I'll grab this ball end and put it there. As I mentioned before, I was trying to keep the Peej built without using the script mods or anything. Partially because I started building it before I started using the script mods. But it's just, certain things are so much better when you're using the script mods. It just works better, like being able to have the differentials a little bit smaller. Grab that and extend it by 2. So that's now the same length as the links, but it's not as long as I would like it to be. I also will need to put the steering back under the front end, which is right there. The entire axle is moved forwards by 2 blocks as well. So let's put that there for now. I'll put the pitman arm on it, which will bring the track bar out quite a bit. I could also turn that around, but then it'll be in or in front of the grill, which I'm not really fond of, but I might have to. I can't remember exactly where it is on a normal Jeep, and yeah, where it would have to go is not a very good spot. So I could reduce the rotation on it, but I wanted this to be 3 blocks, not 2. I'll just do that for now. And then I can grab nope, I want a half round and a full round. I also need to switch to steel. If I put that there, no, I need to bring that down. So let's put a gusset on the back. I would also like to have the ball joint sideways like this, so it doesn't limit the suspension any. Which means that can shorten by 1 more again, but this needs to come down differently. I have to make it go to the back so it doesn't interfere with the steering. Like so. And then I guess I can just go like this for now. I can also bring this up 1 more. I'll just make sure everything is set to false on the collision. Okay, where did that... Did I not just grab a... Oopsies. Oh, it stuck it down there for some reason. Okay. I'm pretty sure all the collisions are still set to false. Yes, okay, good. And stick that there. And that works for the track bar. I would like it to be longer, but with where the steering has to be, I can't really make it any longer because I want to keep them the same angles and stuff so that there's no bump steer. I can now, actually, because of the tie rod, it'd probably be best to bring this down where it is. So again, I'm going to need a even shorter immediate pitman arm, and then I'll bring it down like this, I guess. I should also be making sure it's all set to false. Put that one that way, and then the tie rod gets swapped out for 2 pieces. Assuming I can make it long enough. Nope. Okay. That goes like that. And then I'm going to use a cylinder, like so. There we go. I'm also temporarily going to set that to rotate, so I don't have to worry about the steering servo working against the hydraulic ram thingy, linear actuator. And again, I will likely use the weld tool to make angled bits rather than doing it like this, just so it looks better. But I want to make sure it works first. That works fine. The steering should still work fine. Yep, steering works fine. It doesn't look like anything's binding. I need to test the suspension movement though. This is all supposed to have selectable. Oh yeah, it does have a low line. It does have low and high range, which is good. It's 7. Seems like it has some decent flex. It doesn't seem to want to work. There we go. That's another reason I need to work on the drivetrain a bit more, because it just doesn't like to work properly. And constantly maxing out the revs like this is super annoying. If we go like this, it should flex nicely. I also made sure that the steering, with the steering and the width and whatnot, it wouldn't hit the links. And yeah, lots of flex. So I think that's how I'll end up doing the front end. I'll just make it look a lot better. And if I can, I will move the steering box so that the track bar and drag link can be at least a little bit longer. So yeah, I'll work on this a bit more off camera. And then hopefully I can get this done soon so I can move on to the racing variants. I should also make like a track version of it too, because why not? Use the independent suspension. Make it like really sporty somehow. Put smaller wheels on it. Smaller, wider ones. Like these 4x8s perhaps. I think this will look really weird though. Since it's four-wheel drive, I might as well put the same width wheels all the way around. Even once it's lowered, I think that'll look kind of funny. I will likely use the two-door variant just because it's a little smaller and lighter. Shorter wheelbase will help it turn a bit better as well. Although this would be better if it ever slides. This looks hilarious. It's so low. Oh, come on. I hate when it does that. This is so weird. It likely won't be as weird with the independent suspension and properly lowering it and stuff. And I could try and put some side skirts on it or something. This is hilarious. It looks so dumb. I hate when people do stuff like this to Jeeps. Oh, and it doesn't have brakes at the moment. And it rolled. So yeah, I'll definitely have to do independent suspension and do something to make sure it doesn't roll as easy. It seems to like having the small wheels on it rather than the big transport truck wheels. The gearbox definitely likes it more. Maybe because it's using less torque just to spin the wheels. But yeah, I got no brakes. Engine braking. And it should turn at decent speeds. But, yeah. Either way, that is going to be it for today. So, as usual, if you have any tips, tricks, questions, anything you want me to check out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And as always, I hope you enjoyed. And thanks for watching.